Ever pondered about the role genetics play in mental health disorders? Let's dive in. Mental health disorders, they're more common than you might think. For instance, did you know that around 15% of the Indian population grapples with these conditions? Quite substantial, isn't it? But what's behind these disorders? Well, it's not just one factor. It's a mix of genetic influences, brain chemistry, personal experiences, and social contexts. Yes, you heard it right. Our genes play a significant role in this. They're like the secret code behind the scenes, influencing how we respond to different situations and experiences. Just like you inherit your grandma's eye color or your dad's sense of humor, you might also inherit a predisposition to mental health disorders. But remember, it's not a straightforward you have it or you don't situation. It's more like a complex dance of factors, with genetics being one of the lead dancers. So you see, our genes do have a say in our mental well-being. Intriguing, isn't it? Now let's delve deeper into the genetic nuances of specific mental health disorders. Let's begin our journey with depression. Picture depression as a cloudy day that doesn't seem to clear up. It's a complex disorder with a hereditary chance of 40 to 50%. This means that if someone in your family has suffered from depression, there's a similar percentage chance that you might too. But remember, genetics is not destiny, it's just one piece of the puzzle. Next, we move to bipolar disorder. This is a bit like a seesaw, with mood swings from extreme highs to crushing lows. It's highly heritable, meaning it tends to run in families. Scientists have found a rare copy number variant on chromosome 16p11, that's associated with an increased risk. Now, copy number variant might sound like a fancy term, but it's just a variation in the number of copies of one specific gene. Now let's talk about anxiety disorders, PTSD, and borderline personality disorder. These conditions can feel like an alarm bell that doesn't stop ringing. They all have a significant genetic component, with variations in dopamine transporters increasing susceptibility to PTSD. Borderline personality disorder, characterized by emotional instability and impulsive behavior, has a heritability of about 40%. This means that around 40% of the variation in this disorder can be attributed to genetic differences. Next stop, ADHD. This is largely genetic, with genes related to brain development and dopamine signaling pathways playing a role. Think of it as a fast-forward button that's stuck, leading to hyperactivity and impulsiveness. OCD, on the other hand, can occur due to variations in genes related to serotonin and brain communication. It's like a broken record, with repetitive thoughts and behaviors. Finally, we come to dementia, including Alzheimer's disease, which has genetic influences. The APOE gene in particular is a well-known risk factor. It's a bit like a book where the pages start to fade and become harder to read over time. It seems our DNA holds more secrets than we imagined, doesn't it? As we wrap up, let's highlight the key points we've discussed. Our genes, those tiny building blocks of life, have an enormous influence on our mental health. Disorders such as depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, ADHD, OCD, and dementia all have genetic roots. For instance, major depression has a hereditary chance of 40 to 50%, and genetic variations like those in COMT and SLC6A4 genes are linked to schizophrenia, depression, and anxiety. Bipolar disorder is highly inheritable, with certain rare variations on chromosome 16p11, associated with increased risk. ADHD is largely genetic, with genes related to brain development and dopamine signaling pathways playing a role. OCD can occur due to variations in genes related to serotonin and brain communication. And dementia, including Alzheimer's disease, has genetic influences, with the APOE gene being a well-known risk factor. Remember, understanding our genetic predisposition can lead us to better manage and potentially prevent these disorders. Stay curious, stay healthy,